All right, good evening. Hey, it's about time for another one of our thrilling shows. I've got some new material, I've been working on that. I'm going to try to take you through that this evening. I'm sure you'll find it very, very thrilling to hear. Got a couple of announcements I want to make before the show gets started. One has to do with this show is about to become an award winning show. I have been posthumously nominated for the worst actor in history. So we're going to keep our eyes on that and see how the committee acts on it. Hopefully, it'll be quite some time since it is a posthumous nomination, but we'll just keep our eyes peeled for it and see what happens. The other announcement has to do with the sponsor. About to get a major sponsor for the show. I'll be touching on that as we go through the show material, and then we'll talk a little bit more about that sponsor and who they might be towards the end of the show. So, as you can see, I have a flying saucer here depicted. The reason for that and the reason for this show is I've been recently asked if I believe in UFOs. And the answer, my knee-jerk answer I gave was, no, I don't believe in UFOs. Now, what I really don't believe in is the sightings that people have reported as opposed to the possibility of a UFO. Because I'm an engineer, fairly knowledgeable in physics, engineering, that sort of thing. And so I believe it's possible that there could be UFOs. I think there's some physics required that we yet know nothing about that potentially would make interstellar travel possible. Because presumably, if there are UFOs, they've come from somewhere else. They have not come from Earth. They've not come from our solar system. Well, where did they come from? Maybe an alternate dimension. I think that's within the realm of possibility, fanciful possibility. Possibly from some other star system somewhere. I mean, the research has shown that there are thousands of planets out there in the universe. Actually, untold thousands. Whether there's any habitable, whether there's any that have life on them, or whether there are any that have intelligent life on them, is yet to be seen. I mean, I'm not sure there's any planets yet that have been determined to have intelligent life on them, but that's just my opinion anyway. So let's get on with this a little bit. There's another depiction. Typically, people describe UFOs as saucer-shaped when they have alleged to have seen them, or there have been some other shapes reported, but the saucer is the most common one. But scientists have been looking into this for quite some time. This picture is a little bit dated, but obviously it goes back a while. But what's really been an eye-opener is the most recent material that's emerged, and that has come from the Pentagon with the recent release of some images that were taken from an aircraft that show an object, looks kind of like a saucer, doesn't it? And there's more than one of these images, and the Pentagon admitted they don't know what that is. So I think it is possible that it could be a UFO. But I was in Walgreens today doing a little shopping, and I was at the checkout. And they have magazines and stuff there and little newspapers and things like that, tabloids. And one of them caught my eye, and that was this one. The Pentagon has actually recovered wreckage of a UFO. And this is an entirely credible source, so you you got to kind of believe that maybe there are UFOs out there. That certainly goes a long way to remove my skepticism. Well, now that if you're starting to accept that there are UFOs, then you got to ask, are these drones maybe, or are they piloted? And what would the pilot look like? What would an alien look like? There have been depictions of aliens, fanciful depictions over the years. There's one type. There's maybe a more comical type of alien. But who's to know what might be out there? If you look at the variety and variation in species on the earth, could something like that be out there? Who's to say? It very well might be. The other thing that leads you into, besides the reportings of UFO sightings themselves, there's been numerous reports of people who have been abducted by the aliens and taken on board their spaceship. It's typically this kind of thing, a Star Trek type thing, where they're transported up and, they're taken into the spaceship and the aliens examine them thoroughly. Typically, they do an anal examination. Now, I'm not sure why that is the case, but if you read a lot of these abduction stories, that's where they end up. So maybe they've got an anal fetish. I don't know what the deal is, but that seems to be a common theme. But there are some cautions after reading these abduction articles. Most people, if not all, are returned unharmed. And what they say, the real secret is remain calm. If you are abducted, and these encounters apparently do happen, your best bet is just to remain calm. Let them do whatever they want to do. If they want to poke something up your butt, you just have to go ahead and accept that, and that will keep you safe. And very likely you'll be returned to where you were abducted, at least according to the majority of the stories. So these things happen, but there's something that has emerged very recently in light of the fact that more credibility seems to be attached to these abductions, and that is there are companies now offering alien abduction insurance, believe it or not. In fact, there's several major insurance companies that are offering policies against alien abduction. And I researched a few of them, and their rates are quite reasonable. And this kind of leads me to where I alluded to at the beginning about acquiring a major sponsor. I have been in contact with the principals of a number of these alien insurance companies, and they're interested in sponsoring the show. I can't go into any details right now because the deals haven't been finalized, but once that becomes final, then that will be probably the main topic of the next show. So anyway, that's kind of what we have for this evening. I hope you enjoyed the show. I'm going to be getting out of here.